Regular viewers of this channel will know that I love a 90s American-made Cannondale, and I'm going to do something a little different with this one. Well, not so much different by my standards, but different. Okay, so before I show you what I've got, a little bit of my history, this channel and my love of old Cannondales. You've probably seen me do the R800 road bike from the 90s, the 2003 cyclocross gravel build, which I still ride today. I also have two Super Vs. One resto mod, which is the blue one, which you'll see here, that I had a really interesting ride in the Peak District with, and has since been reborn for another video. I've also got a black later edition, bit more era appropriate, but I found something to go with the 1994 Super V, and it's behind me. Let me show you. And it's this. It's a Killer V from 1994 in the same colourway, and actually in this light it looks really nice. It's actually quite, should we say, tatty. It's a survivor. It's going to go perfectly alongside that Super V. So let me explain a little bit about what I've got planned to make it just that little bit different by other people's standards. Downhill smooth tarmac standards is positively normal. Before we explain, let's have a quick look at the frame itself. So this is the frame, have a little look round it. It's a 1994 Super V. It's in pretty good order. It's got one little dint here, and it is definitely described better as a survivor bike. I've actually rubbed this whole bike down with 2000 grit wet and dry, and then repolished it, as well as touching up some silver paintwork that had already been done on the rear stays. I've actually had to blow it in and just hope that it'll look all right. It's definitely what my buddy Martin would call a 10-foot finish, because from here it looks all right, which is the main thing. So let me explain what we're going to do with it. So first thing you'll notice is the forks are not in the frame, and there's a reason for that. Okay, these early 94 Killer Vs had 1.25" steers on them. I've got the forks, let me show you. There you go, there's the original fork. I'm not using this for two reasons. One is that I haven't got a stem that will fit it, so there's no stem that is going to suit this at all that I have. And two, these pepperoni forks, especially these early ones, were subject to quite a lot of recalls. I'm just not feeling it. As cool as they are, they've already got some suspicious looking paint and a bit of corrosion around here. I'm not convinced these would be a fun way to fly, so I've decided just to use what I've got, and this is where it's all going to go a bit weird. So off my old Charge single speed plug, I've got some forks. These are 700C. They fit perfectly, they look really good. I've even resprayed them, and I've put a nice coat of lacquer, and check that out, got a nice Downhill Smooth Tarmac logo underneath there as well. So it's ready to go. What I'm going to do with this bike is a 700C conversion, purely because I've seen it on a couple of sites where people have done these as gravel bikes. I'm not going to go with drop bars because I've done that a lot in the past. I'm going to go alt bar. So I've got some wheels, I've got some solutions, I've got a fork, I've had a little cheeky test fit, and it's going to work. So we're going to go for a 1x adventure bike vibe. So it will sit nicely alongside the resto mod full banger of the Super V. They'll sit nicely next to each other, a bit like my two Mercians. They're going to work as a nice little pair. So kit wise, let's just get straight into it. Wheels are going to be these. Let's see if I can get you them in focus there. These are my old crowsfoot laced Hope hubbed rims that I built for the 700C conversion for the Doors touring bike, which never really got used a great deal. I've put an 1142 cassette on, brand new. It's got some Hope Whizzy Whiz. These wheels have got a really funky lacing pattern. I think they're going to work really nicely, and I just happen to have a mismatched size pair of the same tyres. Got some Continental Terra Trails, got a 40 at the front and a 35 at the back, which is going to fit perfectly. Okay, now gearing wise, because the bike's blue, I thought a bit of Deore LX like this would be a really nice option, and it just so happens I've got everything I need, and that includes levers and shifters with those awesome adjustable setups. These are going to be great, especially because I've got the brakes, and there they are, there's the brakes. These are those sort of pivoting, more famously XT type brakes. Got a whole set of these, perfect. In fact, the only thing that isn't going to be Deore LX is the chain set, which is going to be this with a 36 tooth, 36? 34 tooth narrow wide chainring. Such a knob. We'll probably fit this because it's blue, go with the bike. And these are Alevio, but they are nice. This trickle down tech, they'll fit perfectly on this kind of build. I did want something Holotech too, but can't have it all. So there we go. That's the plan, that's the bones of the operation. We're going to do a 700C bike. But I mentioned about alt bars and I haven't shown them to you. We're going with a set of these. Who remembers the On One Mary? It's a swept back alt bar. I've even got a Coda stem to stretch it out. This is a large frame, so with these bars should be quite a comfortable place to be for me. And just to finish things off as well, I managed to get a Thompson seat post. Didn't manage to get it, I just found it in the drawer. And speaking of things I found, the most Gucci additional part, lovely X-Lite seat clamp. Way too good for this bike, but it's going on because it fits. So that's it really. Let's go ahead, start with the headset, do the usual, build this bike. Go! Okay, so while I grease up the headset and everything, I'll probably explain a little bit about the bike. So, I paid 30 quid for this bike with a set of wheels with Deore LX hubs, which will come in handy for another build. And I do feel, even in the condition it's in, it was a bit of a bargain because these Killer Vs are not easy to come by anyway. And it was only through somebody else in a little group of retro bike guys pointing it out that I saw it and I had to snag it because it's a massive frame. Happily for me, the previous owner had already converted the headset to an 1 1/8 down from the 1 1/4 that it was before. So the world was really my oyster with this build. I could have just as easily fitted the suspension forks from 26er wheels and just done it as a trail thrasher, which the thought crossed my mind. But I've just done the Alpine Stars, which you probably saw the video probably a couple of weeks ago, something like that, but it's been out for a little while. I've just done the Alpine Stars as a trail bike, so I fancy doing something different, and that's where this is definitely different. I'm gonna have quite a lot of steerer on this, just to make it more comfortable. I don't want it. Cannondales from this era are so aggressive. We all know this. So I am going to have a lot of steerer, which is quite fashionable nowadays. I noticed on a lot of builds of this kind of flavour, good chunk of steerer is absolutely fine. Plus, I'm not cutting these down because they are for another bike. So if I ever want to convert my single speed back, I'll need them. There we go. Right, let's do the seat post and seat clamp. Okay, so for the seat post area, we'll go with a bit of the anti-seize ass juice, a little bit around this as well. Basically, I'm going to be a bit liberal with the old grease on this bike because these Cannondales, they are noted for corrosion and that sort of thing, and I want to just offer it a little bit of protection where we can, because this one's looking pretty good, to be honest. Let's put this in place. There we go. Clamp her up. Oh, spicy. Okay, with that seat post in, the bars on, next job I think is to offer these wheels up. I've had a cheeky test fit, so I know they're going to work. Nice. Let's get a front wheel in. There we go. Next job on the list is to get bottom bracket all fitted up. Now I'm going for a bit of a guess on the bottom bracket because it's what I've got. And the last bottom bracket out of this was a little stuck, so I'm going with plenty of anti-seize. And yes, I know I don't need to put it on the side here because it's got a plastic doodad, but I'm doing it anyway. Just to keep everything moving. Threads are still good. The last bottom bracket just didn't want to come out so well. This one's going in like a dream. Using the Juice Lubes Ass Juice anti-seize. It's an aluminium anti-seize and it is very, very good. Oh. So, bottom bracket in. Let's get the cranks on next. Nice. And while we're at the drivetrain, might as well fit the rear derailleur. We're going to go one by on this, so we're going to fit a drop link or a goat link, whatever you want to call it. Just going to help facilitate us using that retro rear derailleur with a modern wide range cassette. I've used these for years. Again, they're a bit like the A to Z disc adapter. Some people don't like them unless they've got wolf tooth written on them. Personally, I've got no issue. I think they're really good. I've facilitated some weird and wonderful setups using these. Oh, now that doesn't feel right. And they should allow us to fit this slightly stiff rear derailleur. I don't know what's got into this. There we go. There we go. Now we're in place. Marvellous. It's got a little slightly stiff pivot there. Hopefully that'll settle with a bit of grease through it. If not, we'll give it a rebuild. Okay, so I've just had to take this derailleur off. It wasn't working properly, and I found my culprit. I don't know if you can see that on there. We've got the actual pivot that the derailleur sits on is rusted out, so we're going to give all that a clean up, put it back on, it'll be good as new. Okay, so as you can see, that derailleur is now working as it should. It's got full movement and it's ready to go. I'm going to pop a chain on. This chain is apparently brand new, if you believe that. It is of the budget variety. Well, why not? Try and get the chain as long as we can. Oh, I think we're going to have to lose a link or so out of that. That'll be fine. Right. There we go. Oh, runs it with ease. There you go. I'm just going to take a little bit of chain out of there. We know it's going to work. Okay, so with that drivetrain in place, my feeling is now I'm going to get my cockpit set up, get my levers in place and some grips, because it's going to be a nice easy win for me, that. Scooch those round. And we need some big grips. Okay, so next job for us is to start putting some brake calipers in place. Front ones, just going to take this masking off from where we've painted. Front ones are going to be a nice standard easy affair. Back ones a little different. A little bit of grease on our posts here. Our lovely calipers in place. Oh yeah, nice. These technically should be the right size bolts, but for some reason, maybe because this is off a cyclocross bike, it uses short ones, like some of the steel forks do, but that'll be fine. There we go, with those in place, set the pads up. I'm going to need the smaller space on the inside for these, so I'll swap them over. Okay, so for those of you that aren't familiar with a linear pull brake and its pad setup, you get two sets of spacers with these, and you always set up ideally with the fatter spacer sticking out towards the pad for spacing, but for these wheels being narrow, we're going to work with the narrower spacer so that we get a nicer pull-in V-brake. Yeah, good, right. There we go, right, let's just make sure this wheel's in properly. Top tip. This wheel is dished correctly, so it should sit perfectly fine. There we go. Can't see what I'm bloody doing here. There we go, right. Right, now it's at the back of the bike where things get really interesting, so let's go there. Okay, so it's out here at the back of the bike where the braking gets a little bit interesting. Some of you might be aware of this, some of you might not, but we've converted from a 26-inch wheel to a 700C wheel. Now you might have seen in one of my other videos where I did this that obviously I need a way of lifting those brake pads up from 26 to basically 29, and we do that with these Light Pro adapters, and these work really, really well, providing that you're not trying to do 650B, which is what I did. These basically sit in space of the pads and change the pad approach and angle so that you can push them in like that. And there you go, little bit of knowledge imparted. Put a couple of bolts on here and level these pads up as well. What I really like about a build like this is the more parts you add, the less I notice the little paintwork repairs I've had to do. The whole bike in this light is starting to look really quite pleasing. So there we go, so we've got pivoting pads there. This one's fine. On this side, this one needs setting up. That is going to contact just fine there. Okay, I don't like it, it's got a lot of spring tension. Let's see if we can get that stretched out a bit. There we go. There we go. Sometimes these springs get a little bit tired and you can just manipulate them slightly to put a bit of extra tension in, so that when you do come to fit them with your adjuster screws and balance them, you've got something to work with. There we go, right. Okay, so I think that is shaping up to be one hell of a bike, and all it actually needs now is some cables. So let's do that in a time-lapse style. Here we go. Well, okay, with those cables fitted, the Cannondale is ready to break cover and check out my Killer V. It has turned out exactly how I wanted. Lightweight, 700C conversion, one by Drivetrain, ready to roll. So let's have a look at what we've done, a quick recap. We got those 700C aluminium forks off the charge plug. We've got the On1 Mary bars, the Coda stem and the Thompson seat post. The one by Drivetrain is mainly Deore LX. It's got 1142 at the back and a 34 at the front, so we've got a 34-42 climbing gear, that all important big spinny gear. Brakes wise, we've also got Deore LX at the front. I've had to get rid of the one at the back because it didn't like the adapters for the 700C conversion, so we've now got just a standard Shimano at the back that is working perfectly. We've still got all the LX in the cockpit and those BMX levers, and it's ready now for a good old trail thrashing test ride. Oh, let's not forget my Hope hubs laced with crowsfoot lacing pattern to these bronze rims. Will these stay? I hope they do. They're a nice wheel. With that, I'm going to say I hope your next ride is downhill smooth tarmac. You're going to have to wait for a test ride. Hope your next ride is downhill smooth tarmac. Keep your wheel spinning, keep your rubber on the road, your knobblies out on that trail. Be safe out there, look out for one another, be a good human being first, or an even better cyclist second. If you get a minute, like and subscribe, but don't let that get in the way of you getting out and riding your bike. Until next time, it's been Downhill Smooth Tarmac. Thanks for watching.